and I help beauty entrepreneurs save money on taxes and CFO service. So it's been a while. I am glad to be back. I'm going to let everybody come on and filter on in, but I will be respectful of your time this morning. So how has everybody been doing? Please let me know how you doing, how you feeling. Um, where are you right now, kind of in your tax, your tax season process. um, I can say for right now, IRS just opened on Friday was the 12th, so they officially, right, just opened on Friday, meaning that you go ahead, you get your return prep and your tax pro e-file it. They will like work to accept it. They work to accept it and start processing tax returns. So IRS open. Usually the states fall in line with the IRS. So all the states should be open by now too. But don't hold me accountable for that. I can only speak for the IRS. Attuned to the IRS. So what I like to do on a weekly basis, at least come to you all so you can like ask me any tax or bookkeeping questions you may have. You can ask me anything, right? I titled this session Ask Me Anything because that's truly what I want you to do, regardless if it's related to accounting or tax or not. We can just get on here and chill and talk and hang out. But I did want to give you all time at least once weekly where we can get together and I can answer your tax questions since we are in tax time. And that is my whole mission and goal, is to help beautypreneurs save money on taxes. Now, let me tell you something. I specifically am committed to the beauty industry. However, let me just say that a lot of the things that I say can be applied to other types of businesses. So let's say you're a beautypreneur, but you're multifaceted, right? You got a lot of things going on and it's not all in the beauty space. That's fine. You still can use a lot of these strategies to help you save money on taxes. So please go ahead and tell your friends, tell your family, ping them in this session right now, and they can get all their questions out too. I do have some questions, right? These are questions that has been asked of me within the past week or so. And so we can start with those. If I don't see any questions in the comments, and please do not sit on your questions. Go ahead and put them in the comments or in the questions field if you're looking on Instagram. Go ahead and put that out there, and I'll answer them as I see them. But I do have some questions that were sent to me in advance. So like if you're on my email list or if you're in the Facebook group, the Beauty CPA community on Facebook, you have the opportunity of, sending me things in advance, especially when you know that you can't make the live session either through the Facebook group or on Instagram. So I'm going to answer the questions for those, community members. But again, if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, feel free to drop your question in there and we can get rolling. All right, so I do have one question coming through. And just to give y'all a heads up, if y'all see me shifting my eyes back and forth, that's because I'm multi-streaming. I got Facebook and YouTube on one screen, and I got Instagram on another. Can't wait for the day it can all be through one screen, but it is what it is. So that's what I'm doing if you see me shifting back and forth. So let's do the Facebook questions first. As a single member LLC, can I have myself as the owner on payroll, like pay myself with direct deposit? Okay, let's unpack that a little bit. And then I am going to mute my phone because it started going off. Okay, let's unpack that for a bit. Okay, here's my two-part answer to that. Number one, as a single member LLC owner, right, you will not put yourself on payroll. You will not put yourself on payroll, issue yourself a Form W-2. You will not do any of that. Now, I think what the person that's asking this question is maybe asking is about the mechanics of how they could pay themselves. Now, can you put yourself on direct deposit, meaning create a system within your business where you get paid at a regular frequency, at a regular amount, just like someone on, W-2 would be via direct deposit. Yes, you could definitely do that. If you have a business bank account, which I hope you have a business bank account, set up a automatic transfer from your business account to your personal account. You can set this up how frequent as you want, weekly, bi-weekly, once a month, whatever floats your boat. And then you can do it at whatever amount you want. And then that can serve as your direct deposit, because you're going to get that transfer is going to happen every week, every 2 weeks, every month, however you like it. And that'll serve as your direct deposit. But you will not put yourself literally on payroll, like through a payroll service provider, where you're getting a W-2, whereas you're paying payroll tax. Because single LLC owners, you guys are subject to self-employment tax. 15.3% of your net profit. And that's how the IRS wants you to be until you switch entity types. Okay, until you switch entity types, meaning you've made an election to be a corporation, either S Corp or C Corp. I hope that answers your question. Okay, next question. If you have not seen much profit, do you have to include your business on your business income, I'm assuming, on your personal tax return? Absolutely. You sure do. You sure do, because I just feel like, you know, let's unpack that too, right? So let's say you ran a loss in your business, right? I still say file that loss, because that loss can give you tax benefits in other areas of your tax return. So if you have money coming from somewhere else, like a W-2 job or another 1099 gig, or let's say if you got unemployment this year because of the pandemic, that business loss can offset that income and lower your taxes. Okay. Now, even if you had a little bit of a profit, you are still legally required to report it on your tax return. So I don't want you guys to think that, oh, I only made $1,000, I don't have to report it. No, the IRS still want they cut. You still have a tax return filing requirement. So I hope that answers your question. But just remember that, again, if you have a loss, that benefits you. That benefits you completely, because like I said, you can offset it with other areas in the current year, or you can carry it forward and offset it in future years. Okay, so I hope that helped. So I got another question. I just recently registered my LLC with the state and received my tax ID number. Congratulations with that. I love when I hear someone getting their LLC and their EINs. Very important. What would be my next step to make sure I'm prepared for next tax season? I ordered, especially in Washington. Okay, wonderful. So I think that, okay, as you begin to earn revenue throughout this year, 2021, there's one thing I do not want you to forget, right? Do not forget quarterly estimated tax payments. Do not forget that. A lot of small business owners, including beauty entrepreneurs, don't pay quarterlies at all. They wait till they get to the end of the year, and then they're surprised by this huge tax bill. And it's because they hadn't been sending it in quarterly like you are legally required to do. This is not like optional. This is not like an option for you. This is something you're supposed to be doing. So here's a very simple, like quick and dirty system for quarterly estimated taxes. What you need to do is, as you earn revenue throughout the quarters on a monthly basis, I want you to set aside 25% of your revenue for tax purposes. That's for tax, federal and state. So when the quarter closes, when the quarter is over, okay, you have money already set aside to send to the IRS and the state that you live in. And you're going to do that quarterly throughout the year. So when the year comes, you do not have a huge tax bill because you've been paying in, and you have no penalties. A lot of people not realizing you paying penalties when you don't pay your quarterlies because you're supposed to be paying throughout the quarter. Like, like W-2 employees do, they get the taxes taken out their check every time they get paid. Same thing with self-employed folks. So remember for tax purposes, remember your quarterly estimated taxes. And then Keisha, I highly encourage you, maintain bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is like step number one in all of this tax, financial control, all of this over your business. You need bookkeeping. You need to know your numbers. I have a very simple spreadsheet that's free. You can use that to get you started. Just inbox me the word bookkeeping. If you want that link, I'll send it right to you after this session. I hope that helped. Okay, so we got another. What subject is today? Oh, today is Q&A. So whatever tax and bookkeeping questions that you have, go ahead and give them to me. Like I said, IRS officially opened on Friday, so tax season has officially begun. They will be processing tax returns. And if you're just getting started and you just have questions, now is the time to get them out to me. I usually do this at least once a week, right? At least once a week. So this is the time and the resource to go ahead and get what's on your mind out there. Okay, can you repeat the last statement? Yes, I believe you're alluding to bookkeeping. I'm encouraging Keisha and everybody else on the call, please be doing your bookkeeping. Okay, bookkeeping is not optional. I mean, there are no penalties if you don't do it. However, you need to learn and know your numbers. You need to be keeping track of all the money coming in and going out of your business. And you need to understand what those numbers mean as well. I could tell you now, for those of you who haven't done bookkeeping all 2020, tax season will be very tough for you. Because this is what's going to happen. One or two things. You are going to go to a tax professional with an envelope or folders full of bank statements, and they're going to charge you for that. Because bookkeeping and tax prep are two different services. Ideally, a tax professional wants you to come. They want you to come to the appointment with one piece of paper, your profit and loss for your business, all the money you made, all the money you spent, and they can prepare your tax return for you. If they have to shift through folders and envelopes full of receipts and bank statements, now they're doing your bookkeeping, something you should have did all year. Now, I know some of you have told me, okay, well, I have someone nice doing my taxes. They don't charge me for it. Okay, that's great. Lucky you. This is what I'm going to say to that in response. How do you know that everything you gave them in those manila folders and envelopes made it on that tax return? How do you know that? You don't know that. You don't know because you have nothing to check their work against. Typically, it's the profit and loss that you use to review and reconcile your tax return. But if you don't have that, how are you checking their work? And now you're signing a tax return that you're not even sure that everything is on there. You're just trusting your accountant or CPA. If I could see you right now, I would say, raise your hand if you ever heard of a story of a CPA or accountant taking advantage of their client. I've heard of that. Never done it. I've heard of it though. So please do bookkeeping. If you need to get started, I have a free template you can use. Just inbox or message me the word bookkeeping, and I will send you the link to the spreadsheet that I have. Now, I do have a question on Instagram that I have the spreadsheet, but what do I do once I input everything? Okay, so if you have the bookkeeping template that I sent you or that you've got some somewhere else, the bookkeeping template builds the profit and loss for you. Once you have all of your transactions in there, it will build the profit and loss for you. So you will know the annual total of all of your revenue, all of your expenses that are categorized, just like it would be on a tax return. And then you'll ultimately end up seeing your your net profit or your bottom line at the bottom of the profit and loss. Mackenzie, if you still have questions about that, like if you got it from me and you're just not sure how to use it, there I have a video walkthrough for my Excel, my bookkeeping Excel template. I have video walkthroughs of how to use it, how to get to the profit and loss that you can use for tax season. So if you're not seeing that in the template, Mackenzie, feel free to DM me and let me know so I can kind of point you in the right direction. And for all the other of you listening that you want this template I have, it includes like a 10 to 15 minute video walkthrough where I'm screen sharing how to use it. And then when you're done, how to get to the profit and loss. And that's what you're going to use for tax time. Great, great, great question. Okay. So I think this next question here, this is a follow-up from a previous question about should single member LLCs be on payroll? My answer to that was no. You are not on payroll. You do not pay payroll tax. You pay self-employment tax until you switch your entity type. So here it is. I had myself on payroll from September to December. I'm assuming of last year, so Q4 of last year. Did I mess myself up doing this? I was told I shouldn't do an S corp if I haven't made six figures yet. Oh, okay. So whoever told you that don't do S corp until you made six figures yet, unless that person sat down with you and ran numbers for you, don't you listen to them. You say thank you for your advice and you just keep it moving. This is what I say, guys. If you are making the decision whether you want to go from one entity structure to another, it's great to hear theory. I have theory for you. Here's my theory. My theory is based on actual numbers. My theory is start watching your net profit at around 30 to 40K. Look at how much self-employment tax you are paying. That is the net profit figure you want to start thinking about switching entity types. And what do I mean by thinking? I mean run those numbers. I have resources within my catalog of products that can help you run the numbers to see which entity type is best for you based on where your net profit is and other factors, but the largest factor is where your net profit is at the moment. So do you have to necessarily wait till you are six figures in net profit? No. Like I said, my number that I start really closely watching for my clients and that I suggest you do for yourself is around 30, 40K, but you still have to run the numbers. I have a tax planning bundle for beautypreneurs, and that product is focused on which entity type is best for me. Not only when you are first starting out, but as you progress through your entrepreneurial journey, because you will not stay the same entity type. Because what will happen is you'll start to see, wow, I'm paying a ton of self-employment tax. What can I do to chop that down? And so this product I have, it is the spreadsheet or the work paper that I use where we plug all your specific number is for your business. And this spreadsheet will spit out the tax liability for every single entity type. It comes with a ton of other products to help you make this decision, but that work paper is really, really what you need. Again, that product right now is $75. There's a link in my Instagram bio for that. Or you can go to thebeautycpa.com and it's on the home page. And it's $75, but you get a ton of resources that helps you make an informed decision, and it teaches you how to run the numbers. Okay, not just listening to somebody. If they ain't run no numbers for you, they shouldn't be telling you that. I'm gonna just be straight up honest, because even if it was applicable to them, that means it's gonna be applicable to you. So check out that resource. All right, my next question. Quarterly earnings begin as of today since I registered today. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you this, the IRS quarters do not follow the typical, they don't follow the typical calendar quarters, right? We know calendar quarters as January through March, April through June, July through September, October through December. They're a little different for the IRS. So go look at irs.gov. You can just search quarterly estimated tax schedule, and then they will show you their specific quarters and how you should be sending them money at what intervals and what the due dates are. So check that out. But yes, that will start now in 2021. 2021. The money that you have earned since you've been in business. This is regardless if you've had an LLC. So even if you're a sole proprietor with a DBA, you are still subject to self-employment taxes. Okay? I hope that answered your question. If it doesn't, let me know and we will get back to it. Okay? So here's another question. Do you have a list of tax planning strategies that we can use throughout the year? I most certainly do. I most certainly do. And the strategies, and I'm glad you asked this question because tax planning is something that should be thought about all year round. It is not just a tax return time thing, right? We really want to be thinking about every dollar that we make. How can we keep the most of it? And so we get to learn these tax planning strategies and we put them in place throughout the year. So when the year closes, we've had mechanisms in place that we were saving as much as we can on taxes. Now, the one thing you need for tax planning is time. So that's why we should be thinking about it all year round, because the earlier the better, because the more time you give yourself, the more you save on taxes, because the strategy has been implemented over most of the year. So again, back to that tax planning guide that I just talked about. There are list of tax strategies in that guide for both single member LLCs, for partnerships, multi-member LLCs, sole proprietors, and both types of corporation, C Corp and S Corp. So please, I encourage all of you, if you're interested in implementing tax planning, take a look at the tax planning bundle for beautypreneurs. It's $75. Instagram, you can see the link in my bio. And on Facebook, you can just go to my webpage. It's thebeautycpa.com. There's a ton of resources, like I said, both written and video. I'm a video girl. I learn best when someone is talking to me and explaining things. Not necessarily always when I'm just reading on paper. There's a mixture of both in this bundle. So it's going to be everything you need to, set strategy for yourself. And just keep being involved in the community. Keep following the community. Keep looking at the content. I give a ton of free stuff out. You can get really far with the free stuff that I give out. But if you want to take it to that next level and save like upwards of the 4 figures, check out the tax planning bundle. It's only $75. You implement one of those strategies in that bundle, it will pay for itself 10 times over, maybe even more than that. Okay, wonderful. So and I may have to do like a part 2 because I ain't even got to the questions that folks have sent me. I'm looking for my power cord because my little MacBook gonna go to sleep on me. All right, so I do got some questions. Let me get to the questions that was sent to me. All right, so I got a question here. What should I do if a tax form that I was expecting is not provided? Like maybe it got lost in the mail, maybe I don't know, they sent it to the wrong address. Maybe you changed addresses on them and they had the old one. I don't know what the situation is, but what happens if you don't get it? Okay, so the first thing you need to do is contact the person that was sending it to you. So if it's a W-2, contact your employer. If it's a 1099, miscellaneous, or NEC for work you did for someone, contact the person that paid you and ask them, hey, what's up? I know I'm supposed to get a form, haven't got it yet, right? Do not be surprised if some people don't know they were supposed to give you a 1099. I remember some weeks ago, I did a whole spiel on issuing issuing 1099s as the payor, not the recipient. And a lot of people didn't even know they were supposed to be issuing these forms to folks. So don't be surprised by that. But that's the first thing you do. Contact the person that should have given it to you. Now, if you don't get it by the end of this month, February 28th, if you don't get it by then, you need to call the IRS. You need to say, hey, I know I'm expecting this 1099, this W-2, I have not gotten it yet. Now, what the IRS can do is, one, you're putting them on notice, right? And then two, you can get a transcript from them. So let's say the issuer, they filed their copy with the IRS, but for whatever reason, you didn't get yours. The IRS can give you a transcript of all of the forms you should have gotten that was issued in your name. So these are all W-2s, all the 1099s, and any other form that was issued in your name as the recipient, they have transcripts of. This is how they audit people, y'all. This is how they know that, like, we know you should have got a 1099 for 20 grand, but we don't see you reported it. This is how they know this, because the payor gives them a copy and they keep it in their records as a transcript. So if you need copies of your forms, you can get a transcript for the IRS. Now, when you get that transcript and then you file your taxes, make sure your tax professional knows that this transcript is being used as a substitute for the actual form, because there's a special thing they have to do on the return, okay, to let the IRS know this is a substitute, this is why I'm using a substitute, but it's accurate because it's my tax account transcript. So that should help. That should help with the form question, okay? I just want to say, for the 1099s, even if you don't get one, you're still responsible for reporting income. You still should be keeping track and be able to report the amount on the income. This goes back to bookkeeping, guys. If you're doing good bookkeeping, that 1099 not getting it wouldn't even matter, because you've been taking account for this money throughout the year, okay? Now, my next question is, unemployment taxable income. Is unemployment wages taxable income? So if you got unemployment throughout 2020, because of the pandemic, of course, is that taxable? The answer is yes. Unemployment wages are taxable income. Now, I know some states give you the ability to say, okay, withhold this amount. Withhold this amount. So some of you may get 1099-G and see that they took taxes out. And that's a great thing, because now when you file, you shouldn't really owe that much, if any, because you've been paying in while you've been withholding tax. But if you haven't, if you've been taking that whole amount, no tax, you may owe some of that back when you file your taxes. Now, is unemployment income earned income? Is it earned income? So why am I asking this? I am asking this because, I'm assuming, no, I'm not assuming. I'm pretty sure I know why this person is asking this. They're asking this for purposes of earned income, the earned income credit, right? So let me just refresh your memory. The earned income credit, it is one of the most lucrative refundable credits, right? You can totally go over the amount of the credit to lower your bill, but whatever is left over, you can get refunded back to you. And this can amount up to thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, this credit is dependent on your earned income. It's dependent on your earned income. So if you have low earned income, you're going to have a low earned income credit. If it's higher, up to a certain amount, your chances of getting a higher credit increases. So does unemployment income count as earned income? No, it does not. Unemployment is not earned income. It is not earned income. The EIC credit, or the earned income credit, is totally dependent on wages you earned. So like you went somewhere, you actually worked for the money, okay? So just keep that in mind in case you get your tax return prepared and that credit looks a little different because you didn't earn as much in 2020. right? And so your credit, your refund is a lot lower than what you're used to because you may have earned half as much. Okay. And now I do have and this is I don't think this is breaking news anymore, but just in case you haven't been following tax news, right? And this is a change because of the pandemic. So you can choose when it comes to your earned income credit. If you realize that your 2020 credit is much lower than what you're used to because you didn't work as much because of the pandemic, you can choose to base your credit on your 2019 earned income. So if you get your tax return, hopefully all of you are going to contact me, okay? And I'm gonna take care of you because I know I've been keeping up with this stuff. But in the case that you don't go with me and you go with someone else, right? If you see that your earned income credit is lower than last year, make sure you remember to ask your tax professional, did you analyze whether we can get Hey y'all, my computer died. It died. I remember mentioning that in the live, but then totally forgot to plug it up. But yeah, I am going to, what I told Instagram was I am going to make a part two to this because I try to keep these like half hour so it's not just way too long. So I'm gonna come back. You did not miss anything. I'm gonna come back with continued discussion on the earned income credit. Okay. So so stay tuned. It'll be soon because I'm pretty booked for the rest of the week. But I do want you all to know about the earned income credit. So I'll come back with more discussion on that.